Thank you, Brian. That's sort of the, supposed to get up now and say I'm trying to figure out whether I'm 10 feet tall or 6 feet under. I am obviously pleased to be back in the Triple Cities. I came here to IBM, as Brian said, in 1950. It was my first job, our first home. Our children were all born in Endicott in the Ideal Hospital. And, of course, we moved away in 1960, and I got back many times for several years, business-oriented as well as to see friends. But I haven't been back for a long time now, and it's been a great visit. We had a chance yesterday to meet with some of the people that did the 1401, the ones that are still around, and we had a ball, frankly. I had a ball. I hope they did. I think Susan told me that maybe take about 20-some minutes initially and then ask questions, and I was supposed to start at 1:30, so I guess I'm through. I did want to, by the way, I might also mention, I'm a native North Carolinian. My wife is a native Georgian. And we were accused of going to Yankee Land when we left North Carolina. And we said, well, we're going to go up and get 2 or 3 years experience and come back to the right part of the world. 33 years later, we got back. I want to talk briefly about some of the history of 1401-like stuff before the 1401. In the 1880 census, it took them 7 years to compile the results of the census. And they had decided to significantly expand what would be covered in the 1890 census. And the estimate was it was going to take 13 years to compile the results of the 1890 census. A gentleman named Hollers came along, and he devised a system where the census taker would have a punch card and a device so that depending on the answer from the people, he would get a hole punched in the card in the right place. That card would go back to the central place, the Hollers machine itself, and a device with spring-loaded pins come down where there was a hole. It would go through the hole and go into a pool of mercury for contact. EPA wouldn't like that too well. And then it would register on a dial one position each time it sensed the hole in the card, and the person would read the dial. They completed the compilation of the 1890 census in 3 years. Now, this was a one-function machine. They used it again in 1900, but it could do one application, Census Bureau, census taking, and compiling census, nothing else. The Hollers were smart enough to realize that that's pretty limited business opportunity, and he first incorporated a very small control panel so that the customer could now, with wires, much holes in the control panel, wire from the proper hub to the proper hub around, and have other applications run in the system. And so he got some more business, although he actually lost the 1910 census, I believe it was, to someone else. The next step was making that panel larger so he could do a more complex application. But now each time you wanted to change applications, you had to replug the control panel, tear it up, tear it down. So they said, well, how about the removable control panel? We'll have a pre-wired panel, and for one application, when we're going to run the next one, we'll just remove that panel, take the other panel, plug it in, run a new application. The accounting machines unfolded the 285, the IBM 402, 405, 407. All of them were control panel controlled machines. 407 had a control panel about that. And when it was wired up, it looked like a bunch of spaghetti laying on there, and it was really difficult to wire. In the mid-50s, a company, Bull, over in France, announced electronic attachment to their accounting machine. And IBM Europe was pretty concerned because they were taking business. Can everyone hear okay? Yeah, good. And they came to the corporation and said, we've got to do something about this. And so the big planning study resulted in something called the Worldwide Accounting Machine assigned to the European labs for development. When I came on board in '57, as Byron indicated, my first assignment was to assess the WAN, see if it was the right machine, the right cost, and so on. And they had been greatly concerned about cost, but as I looked at the WAN, I was not really concerned about the cost because it was a control panel machine again. And technology was on the move, and it was clear that we had to get away from those control panels. But if you take a punch card installation with panels, you have the accounting machine, reproducer, file layer, interpreter, and so on. Each one had its own control panel, so it was a mess. And that's when the beginning of the 1401, when we decided, recommended we terminate the WAN program, and it was accepted.